Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm trapped, guys. I'm trapped. It's freezing cold here. The Arctic vortex has descended from the North Pole and is sitting right above my house. So it's so cold, it's ridiculous, and so you can't go outside. If you go outside without being properly insulated, Environment Canada says you could die in 20 minutes. So there is that, and even if it wasn't very cold, apparently we're not allowed to go outside anyway, because if we go outside we could die from the virus. And I mean, it's we're all imprisoned in our homes here. I hope things are going well where you're from. I hope you're able to go out and walk the dog. All I can do is let Marty out the door into the backyard. Poor little guy has to walk out there, and he goes about 15 feet, and then he stops and looks back and says, "What? Are you fucking kidding me?" And then he has a dump, but as the dump's being ejected from his chute, it's freezing on the way. As before it hits the ground, it's a frozen turd. Then he takes a leak, and then he starts lifting his paw up like his foot's freezing, and I call him, and he hobbles back. So that's Marty's life, and got the furnace going, and got the little space heaters, and oh, it's so nice. And you know those shows you see, sitting by the crackling fire and cozy inside, having a cup of cocoa and wearing one of those funny sweaters, right? The Canadians, we're so happy and wonderful. We could have some nice warm downtime at home, right? That's all fucking bullshit. That's not how it is. That's not how it is. It's miserable. It's absolutely horrible. So there, that's the intro. I hope I didn't swear in the first 30 seconds or the video will be demonetized. We're going to watch Yoli here. That's not how you say his name. I don't know how to say your name, buddy. It's a Jolexjk. I don't know. I think you don't know how to spell. The man who doesn't know how to spell, but he does know how to play World of Tanks, is playing the Object 140. And as you all know, the really good tanks like the Object 140 are difficult to ace. The better the tank, the higher the bar is for acing that tank. You guys understand that, right? I don't have to explain it. Because the expected damage to ace it is very high. So it's hard to ace the Object 140, because a lot of people have good games in it, because it's a good tank. There you go. I explained it. There's other tanks that are hard to ace. Let's take a little aside here. Watch him dominate on the battlefield. And the Object 140 is difficult to ace because people do very well in it, meaning the average game result is fairly good. So you have to not only have an average game result, which is already good, you have to, be in that top 5% or whatever it is, whatever the requirement is to ace it. There's other tanks that are difficult to ace that are not intuitive, and those are the ones. Now get this, there's some tanks that have really poor gun handling but high DPM, like some of the Chinese ones, like the Chinese mediums, the tier 9 that I'm on right now, the tier 10. Not the Chinese. Yeah, the Chinese included, and the Polish. Tanks that have fairly high DPM but very, very poor gun handling. It's hidden stats that make your gun handling very terrible. They're counterintuitively hard to ace because when you play the average game and you take 20 shots, let's say, that's not an average game for some people, but let's just, for the sake of doing math, let's say you take 20 shots. If you have a trollish gun that, the gun's handling is really poor and you miss a lot of shots, so you take 20 shots and 12 hit and 8 penetrate. You have an average game, right? And on average, thousands and thousands of games, you tend to, those tanks with the poor gun handling, they'll always have a certain percentage of shots that they miss, okay? And then you try and try and try, and then, all of a sudden, that 1 in 100 game you play, and you take your 20 shots, and instead of missing 8 of them, fully aimed, hits the dirt. Another one, deflects to the right side of the aim circle, woo, flies by. Those shots. You have that one game out of 100 where you take your 20 shots And for some reason, wargaming programmers have decided that the sun will shine out of your ass and you'll be the RNG god for that game. And every single shot you take will hit bullseye. And you'll take 20 shots and you'll hit 20 and you'll pen 19. There, you got ace tanker. You've played exactly like you did in your previous 90 games, where you took your 20 shots and you hit, 12, 11, 14, 6, playing your troll cannon. And then you have that one game, and it all works out. Those tanks are hard to ace because you're always the ace bar is the RNG bar, right? When you happen to get the good RNG, that's the game you have to strive for. And I hate those kind of tanks because the extremely good games that you get in those type of tanks are luck. And those are the tanks that have really poor gun handling. And I listed a couple of them. Like I've noticed this in the high tier Polish tanks, the Chinese, some of the Chinese tanks that have very poor gun handling, the heavies, and even the mediums, where you just want to rip your hair out half the time when you're playing them because you fully aim shots and you miss and you miss and you miss. Right? You guys can let me know some of the tanks you're playing because I don't know all of them off the top of my head right now as I do the commentary. But you say, snap! That wouldn't have happened in your Chinese medium. Unless Wargaming decided it's time for you to have your ace tanker game. Let me know if you know any tanks that are like that the gun handling is so poor, it's just so frustrating, right? And then let me know if you've had that 1 in 100 game that, oh, I played it last week and I couldn't believe it. It was just like I fell in love with it again. The Leopard used to be like that. The Leopard prototype, the Leopard, they used to be in that category where you'd have game after game after game of shots hitting the dirt and missing and going outside the aim circle. And then you'd have that one game, where you're just unbelievable, right? Then they actually buffed the Leopards, and now they have the good Sigma. So more often, you're actually hitting your targets, which is a nice thing. I can't stand playing the tanks that you do everything right. Oh, here's another, the French light tanks. Not the wheeled vehicles. Those aren't tanks. Those are a figment of Wargaming's imagination. They hit everything on the move. I'm not talking about those. The the auto-loading light tanks. You play those, you do everything right. You scoot around, you get into position, you flank the enemy, you get behind them, you fully aim your shot. You got 3 in the clip. You take your first shot, it hits the dirt. You take your second shot, it deviates and bounces off the tip of the person's turret. You take the third shot and it flies through the air. There, have fun. Now you have a 40-second reload. Those tanks, you have games that troll you and troll you and troll you. I can't stand that, right? Then you get the 1 out of a 20 or 1 out of 30 game where you do exactly the same thing and all your shots hit, you get ace tanker. Is that the intro now? On the other side of the spectrum, you have a tank like this, the Object 140, which typically has very good gun handling, and typically will have a very high hit percentage, and typically behaves very well. And when you aim at something and you fully aim, you typically, when you pull the trigger, except if the shell just disappears because the Wargaming programmers don't know how to program the trajectory and the movement of other tanks. And when you do that, usually it hits what you're aiming at. So if it usually hits what you're aiming at, and there's thousands of people playing it, there's going to be a lot of good games in this thing. So what do you got to get to ace it? That's the moral of the story here. Okay? Are you following the story? It's all going to be connected. What does he have to do? What does old Yoli here? Let's call you YOLO. 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 Yoli's coming, and you're going back to the garage. Okay, he's got How much HP does he have to deal with here? We're going to watch your game now. I know, it's 10 minutes old. You know, this is Klaus Kellerman's channel. What did you think? I was going to, like, talk about you the whole game? Okay. Is he not going to... Okay, he knows the angle to go. A snap on the move. There you go. And he's reset. Because the gun usually hits when it's aiming. You're starting to... You're understanding what I'm saying. There's a lot of HP there, Yoli. And you can farm it all. Come on, buddy. You can do it. He's getting into a perfect position where he can do this. He's pressed 2, so the mouse all of a sudden does not have armor. Because he's pressed 2. See? It doesn't matter. He's Russian. He's pressed 2, which is also another reason this tank is very hard to ace. See? The shots just go wherever he wants. He's pressed 2. It doesn't matter if you angle. Mouse! 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 It doesn't matter what you do now. He's pressed number 2. Wargaming has given him the number 2 key. It's Russian. You do not have armor. Spaced armor? Tracks on your side? It's Russian too. It's Russian heat. It goes right through the spaced armor, the tracks, come on. Oh, it's over. Victory. That's what it takes. See? 7,000 damage. 5 kills. He barely aced it, guys. Barely. He barely aced it. He needed to farm that mouse, or it would have been first class. So, let me know in the comments what you guys, what your tank is. You know, that love-hate relationship you have. For me, it's with the Leopard. Well, you got any of those tanks that the gun handling just drives you nuts, and you're still waiting for that 1 in 100 game? Let me know in the comments, and I'll read them all, and I'll catch you tomorrow.